Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Unfold Learning podcast to yet another check-in video. And this is your host, Kostav. Today's check-in is actually going to be very interesting because it's right out from my journal, assuming that many of you would be going through the same trajectory that I am going through. And basis that, while I was journaling and when I looked upon it, there was a very interesting learning that I could cull out of it, right? So without any further ado, let's actually get started. Just to give you a bit of a background, right, and a bit of a context, this whole of the last week, I have been working towards a particular project. The stakes seem to be very high. There are multiple stakeholders that are involved, and in many ways it is one of the project where the construct is my own brainchild. And there has been a lot of work that has been ongoing over the last, I think, maybe a month or more than that. And as we near the execution of that particular project, there are a lot of things that plays in your head. There are a lot of things that plays in your mind. And essentially what happened was, I over the past week I've been finding myself to be extremely zoomed in, and so zoomed in that it seemed like I'm in my trenches. And it's extremely important for us to be efficient, to be able to zoom out at periodic times. And by the way, it's a very, very important skill which cannot happen until and unless you experience. And today, by bringing this to you all, my effort is to just break down the process which may help you to eventually zoom out from things that you feel that you're completely zoomed in. Right now, what typically happens is, when you are oriented towards a particular task, a project, a goal, objective, you get so focused that you immerse yourself completely in it. And when you do that, there is a potential of blindsiding yourselves and eventually feeling anxious, being overwhelmed about it, and thinking a lot in your head than what the reality is. And that's what probably I was trying to overcome, or navigate through. And it is very interesting that when you are so zoomed in towards something, right, towards one of the objective, you also experience a lot of distractions, right? At least for me, with my project, I was like, I need to ensure that this gets executed in the best possible way. I was getting distracted with things like, what if it doesn't happen? How would things turn out if stakeholders just put their hands up? I was also getting distracted with that sense of fear of missing out, right? And through that process, there was another feeling that was stemming in from, right? For example, will I get the due credit? Should I try harder to be more visible and get the spotlight on myself in a very subtle and a smart way? How should people perceive me? Etc. and etc. Additionally, I've been getting thoughts that this is happening only because of me. Well, why not? Because that's my brainchild, and nobody else could execute this thing as I can. Will anybody ever realize the effort that I'm putting through, or will they have a view of the tip of the iceberg only? And these were those distractors that were coming in my head throughout the week. And to be very honest with you, it was kind of not very comfortable. I was not feeling very comfortable with these thoughts, because these thoughts were kind of consuming, and in many ways they were exhausting as well. What I really don't want to get at is, are these feelings right or wrong? Because honestly, there is no right or wrong feeling. These are the feelings that I am having. And the reason I share with you is that maybe you are in pursuit of an objective, and you could be having such feelings as well, where you are feeling either towards the spectrum of getting carried away, or towards the spectrum of putting yourself completely down and feeling very, very, very low. And trust me, zooming out is not that easy. It is really, really difficult. But hey, why am I even sharing this with you? Because it seems like I kind of find one of the ways to help ourselves zoom out a bit. And the only way we can do it is by asking some really difficult questions, or basis those questions, telling ourselves few things that will help us to reorient and zoom ourselves out. Now, this is where I kind of, jotted down a few things, and I'm going to read it out and help you break down the whole process of zooming ourselves out, that kind of everybody keeps talking about, right? You would have heard that it's important to zoom out, not only to see the bigger picture, but to be in the present, not to think about the past, not to think about the future. Well, these are the mother of all statements, right? Very true, but not many can apply. And that is where this comes into play. Well, the first thing that I wrote to myself is that at the end of the day, I am just a means. And my purpose with the objective that I'm trying to drive is to serve. And the only thing that I can focus on is how do I serve better? And that's it. I'm just a means. So the thought that only I can do this, it nullifies it immediately, because I am just a means, right? The second point, validations, poker chips, etc., are not in my control. It goes back to the teachings that we have in our mythology, be it in the form of Geeta or Mahabharata. Focus on your karma. What has to happen will happen. The result will never be in your control. What will be in your control is the input and the intent with which you give that input. Focus on the duty, the process, and the results are not directly proportional to the inputs, but to your scope of karma. Now, what does this mean? That what I am putting in through may or may not yield the results as I would anticipate, but I got to trust myself that karma is going to balance it out at some point in time. So it doesn't matter if people will realize how much effort I am putting in through. It doesn't matter if anybody will come and acknowledge and validate my efforts. But what would matter is what I think about the inputs that I'm giving in, and if they are coming in with the right intentions. Well, the next thing that I wrote for myself is pretty aligned to this is, but also remember that the integrity with which the work is being done, the honesty with which I choose to serve, will eventually get counted, because it's the nature of the universe to ensure balance. If not now or today, but someday. Whatever I seed, I will reap in this life only. Well, this might sound extremely philosophical, but if you come to think of it in context of what I'm trying to explain, it is as simple as that. And the next one is quite important, and it kind of helped me to really zoom out and get away from these trenches and these zoomed in distractions. And it is, at the end of the day, I'm doing it for myself, nobody else, because I'm passionate about it, because I want to do it, because I want to create that envisioning into my reality. The objective that I chose, irrespective, it's for me, and I want to do it. So it doesn't matter what comes in the way or doesn't come in the way. And aligned to this is a very intriguing thought, and it is that nobody gets everything at the same time or in that time. It's all about the patience and persistence. And lastly, I am just a dot in this whole globe, in this whole scheme of things. And the perspective is that nothing is permanent and everything shall pass. I am too small in front of the universe. Now, when I look at these pointers, right, when I look at these things, the most interesting validation that I get, or a learning that I get, is that irrespective, I need to continue to do what I want to, because I believe in it, because I want to achieve it. And if there are highs, great. If there are lows, that's also great. Me, where I am, I should not really associate myself with those highs or with those lows, and rather I should continue to be in that pursuit with the belief that everything will balance in itself. And that's such an important nuance of being detached, and ensuring equanimity in the way we conduct ourselves. On that note, I'll take your leave. Thank you very much for being there. This is your host, Kostav. And please, please, please do subscribe to the channel Unfold Learning Podcast. Next week, you will see a new content and some more new contents that are going to be lined up. But yeah, this check-in is going to continue. Do drop in your comments. What do you think? Is there any better way to zoom ourselves out? And once again, thank you for being there. I will see you soon. Take care and take care of people around you.